Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Ich warte seit Wochen auf diesen Tag und tanz vor Freude über den Asphalt. Als wär's sein Rhythmus, als gäb's ein Lied, das mich immer weiter durch die Straßen zieht. Komm dir entgegen.
Hello and welcome to the bonus episode of the Gegenpressing podcast. My name's Stefan Binkowski. He's Manu Vet. And Manu, you are in sunny San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, aren't you?
I am indeed in sunny San Diego. Nice and warm, sunny San Diego, Southern California, right on the border to Mexico. Yeah, it's been good. I'm here with Borussia Dortmund, embedded with the club for this entire week. First here in San Diego, and then in Las Vegas. It's nice and sunny and warm here, around 25 to 30 degrees. A bit scared of what's going to happen in Las Vegas to Stefan. I've heard forecasts that go up as high as 45 degrees. So, whew. But yeah, it's been good so far.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you build a city in the desert. Very few people know this, but the reason that you actually live in North America is specifically so you can hijack these summer tours and the German clubs come. No, obviously that's not true, but it's been very helpful for us trying to cover the league because it means we can make the most of you when you're out there with them. And yeah, I think it's fair to say you've kind of gotten a really good kind of impression of what's happening at Dortmund right now. There's 2 or 3 big things have happened this week which we want to touch on. Let's start with Sabitzer. Now we've already kind of gone over the ins and outs of this deal in terms of what he offers to the team, what kind of player he is, whether he's a good sign or not. If you've missed all that analysis, you can pick that up on a Transfer Roundup show. I did it in my newsletter as well on Monday, so if this is the first you're hearing of it, then you really need to check your inbox settings on your email provider because it's kind of all we've been talking about. But you actually got to sit down with the man himself, Manu. I'm assuming the first interview he's given as a Dortmund player. What did he say? What were your impressions of the guy?
Yeah, so, one of the reasons why I like doing these tours is because you get quite a lot of access to players, right? And there's usually only very few other journalists with you. And there was a very small group of selected journalists that got to sit with him in a roundtable setting after the game. And we were one of them, right? And this piece is actually up on Transfermarkt. There's another piece that we're going to have to talk about this later. Is Gregor Kobel, right? That's in your inbox. But yeah, I thought it was actually really interesting talking to Marcel Sabitzer and the way the transfer came about. He stressed that he had lots of conversations with Edin Terzic directly. That sort of led to his decision to stay in the Bundesliga rather than going to the Premier League. And the Premier League was obviously an option for him, right? He did quite well when he moved to Man United, and he actually said that's something that he really enjoyed, playing there, getting lots of playing time in a big club, in an environment that's very different. And yeah, Edin Terzic basically said to him, look, here's the plan that I have with you. I can use you as a 6, I can use you as an 8, I can use you as a 10, or even as in the one of the half positions in a 4-3-3. And that seemed to really intrigue him, the way that, there was a plan for him in place and come to Dortmund. And you know what? The other thing that I thought was really interesting, Stefan, is that, and this is similar, we heard this with Niklas Süle last year, right? Was this idea that he could trip up Bayern in the future to win a title with Dortmund, the Bundesliga title with Dortmund, and that how that sort of would maybe lead to tripping up his former club. And I think that is probably a pretty good attitude to have in this league.
Yeah, revenge is usually one of the most kind of potent emotions, isn't it? Especially when it comes to sport. And Dortmund are kind of beginning to put together a nice little kind of gang of former Bayern players that maybe have a point to prove. And it's really interesting, actually, the way you talk about it and the way that Terzic kind of said to me he could essentially play 3 or 4 positions in the team, which you know, it really goes to show just how kind of rigid that Bayern team is, that he basically didn't get to do any of that at Bayern, even though he's perfectly capable of it. But, I mean, if you think about it, the only real position he could play in that team was a 6, maybe an 8, and both of those situations was when Leon Goretzka or Kimmich were injured. But, you know, at Dortmund, he's probably going to be playing every week in one or two of those positions, isn't he, depending on who else is available and the formation on the day. So that's really interesting. But obviously, kind of, you know, your transfer mark piece was largely about kind of whether he can kind of replace Jude Bellingham, or if he's coming in as that Jude Bellingham replacement. Is that something that was put to him, or is it something he wanted to address, or is it something he just kind of shied away from?
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.